All right, let's see if we are live. Give me a second here to check in on all my stuff. Hey guys, how you doing? Get browser out of my face. There you go. Let's see. Are we live? Looks like battlemap session 3. Volume is good. I can drop that down. Let's get like that. I'll go through my origin story and social media blast, and then we'll get to work here for about an hour or so. So, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. What's up? I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And I've been running role-playing games for 37 years. I've been using the Eberron campaign setting as my native home plane for 18 years. And I've been publishing content on DMsGuild for 7 years. So this is the first time I've created an adventure for DMsGuild in the Eberron setting. It is called, let me get my screen fixed here for you guys real quick. Let's hit. There we go. Yeah, Crystals of Mabar. It's for 4 to 5 characters, level 7 to 8. You're basically fighting undead and necromancers in the Carnwood in the nation of Carnath in the continent of Corvair on the Eberron campaign setting world. So we've spent 283 episodes at this point, basically building all the maps, tokens, and design for the adventure. You can see the entire playlist here. We made the book cover back around episode 40. And I'm on the X Twitter platform. If you are there, I am at Phil Kearney. You can kick around with me, check my links and stuff like that. So we'll get to work here. I've got a timer going for about 17 minutes. I got my plushy doodles over here kicking with me. And so let's make some art. So when we last left off, we had our 20 by 20 battle grid with the coffee grind soil. And let's see, we got our little mutzlies. We've got our 1, 2, 3, 4. We have the freshly dead corpses that are bloated with this fungus that's growing everywhere around the base of the tree. The fungus, when you step into a space that has this Letharia vulpina, it forces a Constitution saving throw or becomes sickened. The characters start off inside this space, so they can take a move and then take a move. Every time they move, they have to make a saving throw, or they lose their action for the rest of the turn. On initiative count, the undead drop from the tree and start attacking characters. On initiative count, the tree itself attempts to grapple characters with the various gropey branches that it has. And if it can grip if it can grip your character, then you're going to stick around, get stuck in the vulpina, potentially lose action economy while attempting to escape. And this is basically the front door of the adventure. So there and there and okay, here, okay. So we're just carving in some texture into the branches. The Manifest Zone is a massive undead region. The campaign setting, Eberron campaign setting, has alternate planes of existence from the Great Wheel or whatever. It has its own system. It has 13 different unique planes of existence that orbit. Metaphysically orbit Eberron, and it coincides with phases of the moon. Cypherus is the full moon, is the moon for Mabar. Mabar is the plane of undeath and darkness and things that go bump in the night. So when Cypherus is a full moon, any region that is like basically attuned to Mabar, the space between the planes thins and things leak through. So this adventure is about an artifact that was created in Mabar, built to pull Mabar in orbit to Eberron more pronouncedly, or to create a bridge when there otherwise might not normally be one. So you can just manifest. You can just create a manifest zone, which is the other plane of existence is manifesting. So that's what this artifact does. There's 13 planes of existence. There would therefore be 13 different artifacts, and the Eye of Mabar is simply the artifact attuned to the plane of Mabar, like the maybe there's like a Dalcor heart or an eye, maybe would be more appropriate for Dalcor. But Dalcor has been shunted out of its normal plane of out of its normal orbit into a far deep orbit that takes thousands of years for it to come back around, which is good because Dalcor is the realm of nightmares, and when it co-terminates with Eberron's reality, it converts people's nightmares into reality and kills everyone with them. So good to not have that come around for the foreseeable future. But the gatekeepers can foresee it, and they're scared. They don't have a long-term solution. Thing is that these different artifacts that are attuned to the 13 artifacts of the planes, the Dalcor artifact, if the ritual is performed, can pull Dalcor back into its normal orbit, and potentially doom the world in a matter of years instead of eons. So that sucks. I wonder who has that. Well, let's find out in the future. So this is like a neat way to be able to convert this adventure as like an intro into an ongoing quest of different artifacts. And that would be there's 6 different plots, like adventure hooks and plot lines with corresponding rewards, benefits, boons, and optional continuing adventures. So one of the plot hooks is from the gatekeepers, the druid sect that basically shepherds the planar travel and helps protect the world from planar disaster like Dalcor's dreams or whatever. And so if you wanted to make this an ongoing, if this is an 8th level, this is 8th level, so, or 7th and 8th level, so 7th level to 8th level, 8th to 9th level, 9th to 10th level, 10 to 11th level, 11 to 12th level, 12 to 13th level, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17. We'll get you 10 levels. 17, 18, 18, 19, 19 to 20. If you start this adventure at 17 and every level you get a new artifact, you can get all 13 of them by the time you're 20th level. And then your team can decide if you want to redesign the planes of existence, or if you want to change the rules about manifestations, or whatever it is that you want to do. But you would have, if you have control of all 20 artifacts, you would be able to alter the planes of existence, like the orbits, how Eberron works. But which would be something that the gatekeepers would both loathe and covet. Like, being able to change things is a real easy way to fix problems, but it's not. It might be deemed unnatural or unholy, like profane or whatever, an abomination. And so they wouldn't want to make use of that. Or you'd have a sect that's like, yeah, absolutely, our whole job is to protect the multiverse. Let's this is the best tool that's out there for us to prevent, like, it's literally an emergency brake for planar invasion. We should totally have access to that stuff. So instead of destroying the artifact, they want to claim it. But like, if you're using the flame, Church of the Silver Flame, they 100% want to destroy it. They see no value in an item like that existing in this world. So they think they should just get rid of it. So if you have one character that is using the Gatekeeper's quest plot hook, and another character using the Church of the Silver Flames plot hook, once you guys get your hands on the artifact, there's going to be a conflict there. Do we destroy the item as the church instructs, or do we save and give it off to sages that can learn how to control it as the gatekeepers want? Strife in a can. Perfect for conventions and paid DMing. It's designed to be enjoyable for the DM to run over and over again because you can change how the adventure runs so easily. And even if you don't use the alternate plot hooks, you can seed NPCs in the adventure that you do. So like you might not be playing gatekeepers, but the DM can add rival parties that are gatekeepers that are going to try to steal the artifact once the necromancers are defeated. So you can potentially pick up allies that end up betraying you because they want that gear. You want to get that bag. So they loot your characters, or they threaten, hey, we respect who you are. You're honorable people, but we're taking that now. It can't be trusted with with common people. It's like, well, yeah, that's why we want to destroy it. It's like, well, no, I mean, you should trust us with it. It's like, so you can betray your patron and decide to adopt another. I mean, at some point, someone's hook is going to get fulfilled. If yours isn't, someone else's is going to. And so you have to kind of like you have to reconcile that with your character, because this is your team that you're working with, and even if it's a one shot, it's still the team that you're working with. So your role playing challenge is to reconcile whichever decisions that the team makes. The players are obligated to get their character to emotionally and narratively get on board with that, whether they're corrupted or bribed or just flat out converted because of pure logic. Whatever path makes the most sense, that's a role-playing opportunity for your team to enact. You have to change your mind about this. How would that alter your character if you do? Instead of saying, my character wouldn't do that, say, given what you know about your character and they decide to do that, why would they? What would it take for them to do that? Because that's acting, like if you're playing the role-playing game because you want to be able to express a character. Characters do horrible, contradictory, lying stuff all the time. We all do. We don't know why we do what we do half the time, and the rest of the time we're just making up stories and justifications about ourselves to explain, why the fuck did I just do that? What does that say about me? What is that? What's some sort of consistency a pattern I can detect here? So I feel like I'm in control of my life somehow, and I'm going to build a narrative around that perceived perception or that perceived pattern, whether it's real or not. And then your sense of self, your ego, your identity will defend these explanations as your personality and identity to protect you from not understanding why life keeps changing on you. That's just the basic psychology of fear and justification and gaslighting. These are all things that people do because their world is so chaotic and untrustworthy. They have to find a way to impose stability, even if it means creating lies. They're at least lies that you're willing to believe, especially if they're about yourself. So you can, if you really want to take your role-playing to a level, think about horrible things that your characters are participating in and create some justifications, the mental gymnastics of why your character would do that even if they don't want to. What does it take, and how are they going to cope with that contradiction? And instead of flaws, a background could have coping mechanism. Like, this is your coping mechanism: drinking, fighting, lying, serial dating, stealing, overeating. Like, these are all different things that a character might do to cope with the trauma of the adventuring world. That'd actually be really interesting, adding a coping mechanism to your character as a role-playing aid. Yeah, roll this. Oh shit, it looks like I'm playing a necromancer, huh? Well, it looks like my coping mechanism is digging up bodies. I take my rage out by digging up graves and then talking to the corpse. Like, speak with dead as a ritual, as a therapy session for your necromancer. Oh my fucking god, I love that. That is so fun. If there were like a dozen fun in-game coping mechanisms that we could build, that would, I think, be a compelling a compelling narrative to replace some of the bonds, ideals, and stuff like that. Like create relatable yet horrible things that characters can compulsively participate in to indicate when their character is being pushed over the line. And like when your like when the wizard starts picking fights, you know he's tilted. So in any role playing circumstance, if something triggers your character so they get tilted, they start this little spindly dude starts just like totally punching above, like literally above his weight class at anything that looks like it's better at fisticuffing than him. And then when he gets in over his head, he relies on overly dangerous magic to correct the situation, potentially killing the person that basically got baited into fighting them, and then them having a superiority complex about it for the rest of the session. What, God, what a despicable character. But that would be so fucking fun. I think there's potential to that. So you heard it here first, folks. We're gonna bookmark that and make reference to that, because the role playing game that I've been playtesting that I'm developing and playtesting with my home table right now in an Eberron Spelljammer campaign as the window dressing, but it's its own unique D20 role playing game. It's either an alternate. It's a Numenera style conflict resolution system utilizing the mechanics of 5th edition, essentially, or 3rd edition, or Pathfinder, or Mutants and Masterminds. It's in that D20 simplicity space, but it's also robust enough that I instead of just having alternate resolution mechanics, I was able to build entire character classes out of those resolution mechanics by theming them around archetypes, like character archetypes. And so we've got a bit of a brand new role-playing game that we're kind of cooking right now in our playtests during this campaign. And so thinking of ways to like add more depth to your character with I hadn't gotten to the point in the testing that we have a background system. So this might be a fun way for us to integrate a background system, especially if we're going to have like diplomacy and espionage, things that you want to control your activity very precisely due to the nature of the adventuring. That infiltrator, like that espionage missions, like you gotta stay hidden. Problems happen if you get discovered. The more you expose your position, the more difficult the challenge of the adventure becomes. As opposed to like diplomacy, which is it's an entire verbal social exploration landscape that the things that you say and how you express yourself impacts the responses and new paths of paths to victory that are open for your team to explore during a negotiation. Because you're trying to find you're basically going through in a social encounter, in a diplomacy mission. You're basically treating a conversation like a dungeon that has secret passages that expose rooms with benefits in them, like treasures and value, and there's guardians in the form of different like if this was like a labor negotiation, you could have guardians be like we need better healthcare benefits, and until the corporation can defeat that issue, it continues to attack the entire diplomacy team, the entire negotiating team on the corporate side, to be able to try to overcome and get to a contract that they can consider a victory. That was if you're like playing the role of the corporation trying to defeat a labor union. That's what our team is about to start facing, is labor disputes with the asteroid miners that they employ to extract resources from the rocks. And they get X amount of points of resources every time an asteroid gets mined, and it's every 10 days they basically get a paycheck. So they get new resources every 10 days, and if they fall into labor disputes, they might not be able to get any resources until negotiations are completed if the miners go on strike. Or if they complete the contract, they might find that they are from now on losing one resource token for each territory that they mine, because the negotiations ended up paying the labor force more than they currently do. So that is going to be represented by they gain less resources every time they cash in an asteroid, which makes sense because your labor expenses went up. You get less resources as a result of it, less money. But like there could be like perks to it, like you're going to have to give up one resource no matter what from now on, until the contract changes again in the future with a new negotiation. Or, but like as a result of that, they automatically gain a rank in loyalty, for instance. So they're now going to roll a larger skill die when they do anything related to loyalty activities, like recruiting people or doing diplomacy missions in general as a loyalty task. So I know I'm only feeding you bits and pieces of stuff right now, but it's still very much an alpha test stage. But I do have a Spelljammer game design stream with like maybe a dozen episodes attached to it. That would be the design of the game, like its core, the core build of the game, and it has progressed considerably since then. I just haven't provided an update yet because I'm not ready to provide an update yet. Let's see. I think I want to this here. I actually want to put this one on top. Here. Hey, Rel, how you doing? I don't know what I've been talking about for the past 20 minutes, but I was talking about it. I'm gonna have to go back and it was about converting this adventure into an ongoing campaign from level 7 through 20 because there's an artifact that's attuned to the plane of Mabar, and there's 13 planes. So the idea is that with this starting at 7th level and ending the adventure in 8th level, each level from level 7 to 20, there's 13 planes of existence. There's 13 artifacts that control it. So by the time you get to your 20th level, your characters could have destroyed or collected all 13 artifacts. And if you destroy them all, then I don't know what happens yet. But if you collect them all, like you can reconfigure how your multiverse works in Eberron. Like you can guide where the planes are at, or control which ones are in effect in different places in the world, and blend them together. And if you kept some and destroyed others, then you would still have influence over the ones that you kept. Maybe I don't know. I haven't resolved all that yet, but it's not a full. I haven't actually written that campaign. It's just like, hey, if you want to keep doing this stuff, here is a suggestion, and then we'll provide a list of all 13 all 13 planes and all 13 artifacts and what they are with each other, and they control whether a zone manifests or not naturally. So that's our tree. That's looking pretty good. Hey, what's up, tree? I didn't know it was you didn't know it was a tree. Yeah, right on. Well, then I must have done a bad job. But yeah, this is the token that we made for the tree. But that's a token, but it doesn't read. This doesn't read quite right on a map because the tree holds different creatures aloft, and when there's what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 branches surrounding the tree, and they can grab characters. So if a character gets grabbed, they get pulled into the space. They're going to appear inside this on this inside track between the core trunk and the exterior edge. These 12 spaces here that surround the middle of the tree. And so when the characters appear, they're going to have to make saving throws to get sickened. So the next thing I'm happy with how the tree sits right now. It's basically like a really powerful mix between a shambling mound and a roper. That it uses these branches, and it can migrate your character into the middle where the mouth is at, and then start doing chewing damage on you, while while you're grappled with the limbs, they deal piercing damage from basically stabbing into your character and grip you. So you get transported from here into the maw. It can have 4 characters inside its maw at once, occupying that space, all taking damage. Then they have to climb their way out of it across the Vulpina, potentially losing their actions in the process of doing so. So progress becomes slow. It's difficult terrain. They can only move 15 feet at most, so they can potentially get out of the range here. So the next thing we want to do, like, this tree didn't work because it didn't allow tactical expression of maneuvering around the tree properly. Like, here's the core of the tree in this illustration. So your characters would appear, currently the tree's bigger. Here, let me shrink it down to size. There. Same size now, right? Different expression. Here. If this is the core here, these 4, and this is the outer edge, then your characters would be appearing in this rung here. But there's not a lot of logic as to why they would do that, because this is an illustration, not a technical document. This is a technical document where these different spaces matter. So it becomes more of a gamified challenge. But this is if you're playing, this is only a really important challenge if you're using the gatekeeper plot hook. Because this is the tree where your characters literally appear in these starting blocks immediately under attack, and so that's how you start the adventure. Welcome to the Manifest Zone of Mabar. You're about to get fucked over, and then the encounter proceeds from there. And then when you kill that, you're basically off in the sauce here, trying to find your way through. The guiding stone the druids give you will help you, guide you in the direction of where the center of the manifest, the nexus of the manifest zone is, for you to long dead goes here. Hey newbie, what's up? Ross, is it Geomans, or is it Geoman? I don't know. It sounds like Geoman. But welcome to the mix, my guy. Thanks for showing up. The trunk. Oh, that's all the stuff that goes with it. I don't want to have the tree shadow, ferric ivy, Lotharia, and emerald tops. I want to move those out of the trunk space here. Like that. There we go. Now we've got everything separated. There's the grid, getting rid of the grid. Here are the undead tokens. They go away. Then the tree goes away. And then the moss, the Lotharia, Vulpina Lotharia is what we call it. That goes away. And then we're just left with the open battle map. So it's basically a 20 by 20 grid. This is just generic texture that, like, if you buy this thing and it has all these different assets in the bundle, in a zip file. And here's some terrain tokens that we built. So we're currently going through the process of populating this 20 square space with this different stuff. So we have our trunks, and then we have the Lotharia that fills in here. I think the next thing I want to do is add in water hazards. So we're going to go open up our water kit. Open recent. Let's go down to cobblestone path. Where is it? Hazard tokens, puddles. There we go. Actually, sinkholes. They're like water-filled sinkholes. But these are 6 different templates that we made. Water is difficult terrain. It slows your movement. Plus, undead like to lay in there. So if you traverse one of these, you either have to navigate around it, between them, and stay topside, potentially going through Lotharia and Ferric Ivy, or you wade your way through and potentially deal with undead that are inside of there. So these are 6 different templates that we can basically fit around. I'm going to hit copy, and then here, paste, drop these things in here, like that. I'm going to disconnect those and drag these down here, and I'm going to be cheeky. And just turn them sideways. I don't think we're going to need all of them. So just going to go ahead and conceal that one. So we're going to take some of these puddles and we're going to drop them onto the board here as hazards. They're basically like stickers, right? You basically just stick them on the terrain, and then they become obstacles, and then the spaces between them in this map will fill in with the different terrain hazards. So that's this is basically we're pre-building this battle map, but all these different components are included with the adventures. So the way that the manifest zone works is that there's a thick fog caused by the disintegration, the necrotic powers of the manifest zone destroy vegetation. So throughout the adventure, let's grab this one, say, and put it here. Grab this one and put it here, like that, and then we'll grab. I think here might be a little bit more fun. I'm going to free transform. I'll catch up with text in a second, guys. Hold on. You know I'm all over the place. Like that. So now you have like this funnel you have to move between, or through the water, more undead in the water. Funnel through here for condition effects. Wrong one, Kane. So that's up. Flag. Everyone's a guy. Everyone's a guy. Gomez, right on. Thank you. Or am I? Who knows? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I'm a guy. That's the way I think. I just think people that way, and I'm sure other people that feel differently about themselves view other people to be similar to themselves. It's the default assumption that I can relate to you, I think is how that generally gets framed. But yeah, you could just be a bot. You could just be a very complicated AI that's being simulated and tested through YouTube streams. Self-referential, retains partial memories of events. Maybe not full memories, but some. Not all, just some. You know who you are. Luda. Wait, there's a little bitty one. Let's grab this little guy here. I'll bring him over. We good there, or this one might be better here. I don't want to make it too much of a moat. You know, I've already got a bunch of stuff going on. Maybe can't overlap them. That does not work. Blah blah blah. That doesn't feel bad. Flip those out. Puddles. Let's put the puddles underneath everything else. So now we have water hazards in place. So, I mean, who knows, man? We don't know what the future is going to be like. It's going to be fucking weird. That's what we do know. Okay, so here's our clear paths out of this place, right? So, and it, like when you get rid of the background, things become a lot more tokenized. So we have all these as just line art as well, that you can just print out on a laser printer for the cost of a piece of paper and powering it for 10 seconds. But you can print out all this stuff, cut them out, and then drop them onto your battle map at your home table if you're playing in the flesh. And it makes it, I mean, it's really obvious where all of the tokens are. But when you add in the full battle map, it becomes fancier, but it all blends into, like, you know, a colored map process thing. Anyway, I think you guys get it. So let's see. The next thing I want to do is, oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to thin this down here and jump into the puddles and make sure all the puddles are properly lined up. And then we're going to trim. We're going to trim at the edges a bit. And then we're going to start integrating the hazard tokens around it. So we pre-build these maps and we offer them as just like pre-built templates or pre-built arrangements in the adventure already as as ready to go assets that it can just be dropped on the table. Like the tree would be a token, and the undead, freshly dead are tokens. But then otherwise the tree, the Lotharia, the puddles, the ivy that we're putting in can all be like in the adventure. They're depicted as like, here's the scene, this is what it looks like, this is your starting point. And then once you actually peel open the assets that you get in the download file, it'll have all that stuff built together, like pre-built already as just an illustration, and then include like the tokens for the tree to settle in, and for the freshly dead to then sit on top of the tree, so that it starts off in this arrangement and can attack the characters when you drop them in. And we provide all of these pieces individually as build your own encounters. Like I was saying earlier, there's the necrotic effects of the manifest zone rots all. Like all living matter dies, including vegetation. Oh shit, my thing just locked up. Hold on, I have to hit save. I can shut the puddles, shut this. I have to relaunch it. Tree of Woe. I'm not sure my printer can print in color. Yeah, exactly, which is why we provide a black and white versions of all these. So here, I'll open the puddles. We'll look at this again real quick. There. This is the black and white version. Just this. You can see the thicker line is top of the hill, thinner line is the bottom, where the water begins, and so you can just drop that in as a token, and if you wanted to, you can just like write in here, you know, water or whatever. Or I can put in some wavy lines if we need more language. But you have all the color in the book to see what's going on, and then you put these little tokens into place. If this was like a hill, then the thick line would be inside and the thin line would be outside. But since this is depression, the thick line is on the outside and the thin line is on the inside, indicating a slope downward. So as you move further away, the line gets thinner. So the top level, ground level, whatever's closest to the camera overhead is where the darkest line is. On the ground, it'd be thinner, and then dark at the top because you have to climb up to that point. So, but the entire, all the tokens, all the maps, all the dungeons are in pure black and white like this as well. So you can just print these out and then just drop them on your map, and the grid as well, a black line. Yeah, black line grid. There you go. Take that back to 75. But in the color version, I want to have a more of a gray tone going here so that you can actually see the grid across all the surfaces, dark or light. The grid line still remains if you have a 75% gray tone. And then I have white underneath it. You see that? I have the white underneath that to stabilize the black on top of it so it comes through as gray tone. It took a while for me to find that, but 75% gray does the job like every time. But yeah, if your computer, like a laser printer, it just burns black lines into white paper. That's all it does. So you want to have a black line illustration for the laser printer to burn through so the lines remain true. So that's how that works. Let's zoom back in here and continue cleaning up our bits so they're all sitting inside their space where they belong. Good. And we'll go over here. I'm gonna hit save real quick to prevent regrets. Line up that corner. And I locked up again. OBS, something happened to my camera. I use, it's a ChromaCam is the application for this. It's a Logitech C922 webcam, and it comes with ChromaCam software, which is like the background and all that other stuff. And for whatever reason, the application can't recognize the camera. It won't interact with it, and I've completely reinstalled it. I don't know what the hell is going on, but there's something wonky going on with it, so I can't use virtual backgrounds anymore. So I think I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go with this for a while and see if I like it. I don't like not having the option of having a background, but I'm okay with not having one for now. So. It is going to be what it's going to be regardless. So now now that these are all lined up properly, I'm going to switch to our grit eraser and disintegrate these edges a bit. See, one of the problems that we have currently is when I bring the playmat space back up to full, you can see all these hard cuts between where this is and this is, like the pattern suddenly changes. I want to get rid of that sudden pattern change, and I do that by erasing at the edges. So I'm going to drop this down and go back up to here and just trim away at these edges with a light eraser touch. And since these are prefabricated ones, I can go in and I can pick at these edges like this if I want to. But the template that you get are going to be a little less conforming. They'll have that hard line. So I'm thinking, while I'm doing this, I'm thinking to myself, what's a way I can have this diffusion like diffused edges or faded edges. That's what we're actually talking about. So fade that out like that. It's Friday. Oh my God, it's Friday. Okay, so we're gonna start building the next hex for the Ravnica Rubble Belt Hex Crawl campaign that we're using for our playtest. And people that decide that they want to playtest are more than welcome to hang out and get all of the secret sauce about the next tile that's being built. It's just a playtest. It's not like it's an actual campaign. So I don't mind you guys having spoilers and stuff, but you'll have an idea of the kind of challenges that you're going to have to face. And you can kind of make a little mini game out of building and preparing characters that are capable of taking on the unique challenges of that tile. So I'm really looking forward to building that out. It was a lot of fun building the first one. That was a couple of months back that we made the first one. And now that the characters went through the 3rd and 4th level playtesting, and we're going to come at it from 5th and 6th level, it's going to be a lot of fun seeing how the characters adapt. So I'll be doing that at 1 o'clock today. It is 7:30 here in Seattle. So that'll be in about, probably in about 6 hours from now is when we'll be back on doing that. I think I'm going to look at the Barbarian's Rage features with the power system as well, because there's something that isn't quite resonating with me. The way that we implemented Rage, none of the sustained powers in the martial power system require concentration. That's how we can get away with stacking on buff effects to the Barbarian while still respecting the mechanics of Rage itself, disrupting concentration. And the monk can sustain more powers simultaneously than any other character can. That's one of the things that really makes the monk distinctive from the other classes there. And now let's go back down and see if this meshes well with the playmat space. Much better. See, now it much more cleanly integrates with it while preserving it. There's a little bit of a lip transfer spot here. It feels a little bit more organic than it did before. So I like that. So we're just going to continue doing that. I already knew I was going to do that for all of them, but I now feel totally vindicated in deciding to do so. And a lot of times just feeling vindicated is all that's really important. Let's start with number 2. What's up? Yay, what's up? You a Washingtonian too, Ross, or are you just know folks, or maybe you've just heard of Seattle? There's some game companies, some role-playing game companies that are here in town. I don't work with any of them directly. I can at least, honk the horn and throw horns out the window when I drive by. Woo! Not that I ever drive, mind you. Mind you, mon Dieu. Anyway. And then tomorrow morning, I honestly don't know what we're doing tomorrow morning yet. Saturday morning is my open stream. If I've been hired to create a commission, I'll work on it on Saturdays for certain. I'm not taking any commissions at the moment. I don't plan to take any commissions right now anyway, because I've got a number of books that I have on the workbench that are hot that I want to keep working. We might work on the Rubble Belt Hex Crawl. Just because that's the next playtest we have to do. We're also going to do the Spelljammer Fleet Battle playtest with Vocaf's base. And then we just have a lot of content we need to get built for Eberron. So I know off camera tomorrow I'm going to be spending time in resolving Eberron text to get that ready for page layouts. Is about ready for final edit. Careful. Yep, again, that's very satisfying. Ooh. Yeah, let's go with that. This is feeling off here. Let's take this and push this down like that. That feels a little better. Interesting. Okay. What's up? You know me, I'm all about the resource management mini game. I geek out on that stuff all the time. I love having resources integrated into a campaign, so that the team is working on multiple, like everything that I do is like about working on multiple levels at the same time, like increasing the scope and scale of your campaigns and the threats to your team and decision making and all that stuff. You know, I love integrating that extra level into characters. That feels really good. I'm very happy with that. Cool. Let's move on. Go down to the next one. Martial Powers is so fucking dope. I love that system. I don't know if Spelljammer or Martial Powers is my best work yet, but I'm really proud of both of them. Hey, what's up? I know it's on 28 is when we play test Martial Powers, but you said we do something on 23rd and I can't remember what. Can you tell me again what we do? Let's see. Let's look at our calendar real quick. And these are just loose timelines. So it's probably not the 28th. It'll be, it's going to be a Monday night, like the 22nd, 29th. I'm not going to be ready to go. I don't know if I'm going to be ready to go actually on the 29th or not. We should be close. But the first session is going to be a session 0, basically where we all decide and we build characters together. And I help walk people through the mechanics and help make sure they understand action loops and resources and stuff like that. So I expect the 29th to be session 0, which means that the following week, August 5th, would be... my brain hurts. This would be the first session. So yeah, the 5th will be the actual first session. The 20th, this weekend, the 21st, I'm going to try to see if we can get 5 people recruited to join us on a session 0 on the 29th. And in my campaigns, I like to recruit 5 people, and as long as we have 3 show up, we can keep playing. So 3, 4, or 5 people, that's the sweet spot. For almost any D&D game, 3 to 5 people is the optimal range, so that everyone has an opportunity to be heard repeatedly. So I'm just going to be building stuff. Yeah, Saturday so today we're working on the Rubble Belt. Saturday we'll work on the Rubble Belt. Tuesday we'll work on the Rubble Belt. Friday next week we'll work on the Rubble Belt, and then Saturday next week we'll work on the Rubble Belt. So we'll have 1 hour, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours. Then we'll do session 0, and then 10 out. Then we'll probably finish up on Tuesday the 30th. If I have to, the Friday the 2nd. So we should have anywhere from 9 to 15 hours worth of prep to build basically 18 hours worth of adventure. And I don't have, and then once the adventure actually starts, I get to start updating and provide a design diary for how the campaign is progressing and the things I have to change and things to integrate. And it'll definitely be meta for participants to hang in on that stream and see how I'm baking the sausage while they're eating it. But that is the intention. Because the adventure itself, it has no value to me beyond can I make one, and how does it affect like the encounters that the team faces, how are they resolving it with the power of selections and the resources that their characters automatically have access to using the system. So it's far less about the journey, and it's more about how do you move, you know? Hopefully that made sense. Honestly, it might be a really good idea to have the team keep an eye on the design stream, because I could be talking about like what powers exist that can match the challenges that the team faces, because you're all prepared. So there's prepared casting. It's not casting; it's called channeling instead of spell casting. But you prepare a number of powers based on the level of your character, and you prepare them whenever you finish a long rest. But then there's the sideboard, which is at fifth and sixth level, we'll have 2 powers on the sideboard. On a short rest, you can swap one prepared power for a power that's on the sideboard. So as a short rest, you can swap prepared powers with other like earmarked powers to have access to if you need it. So as the adventure changes and you're transitioning from one challenge to another, if we're being generous with short rests for our short rest resource characters to regain their resources, and giving characters a chance to recalibrate with their sidebar, there's a good reason to have lots of short rests during the course of a day to help facilitate the style of play that you want. And knowing what the adventure has in it helps you think about what kind of stuff do you want on your sideboard and what do you want to have as you're going in for the day. But like short rest resource characters will obviously be able to sling a lot of mana around, while long rest characters, if we're going to have like 3, maybe if we're going to have, we'd have 3 short rests per long rest. 2 short rests on the first session, a short rest and a long rest on the second session, and the third session is going to be 2 short rests, and then the fourth session a short rest and a long rest. So we're bouncing between timing like that. So if your character is here, I'm going to check out the background on this. So if your character has short rest resources, you can afford to have more mana burning powers, because you're going to get all your mana back more quickly. And if we're going to have 3 short rests and a long rest, that means that you're basically going to have twice as much mana as like a ranger or a paladin or an artificer would. But paladins and artificers get free mana every time they attack if you want. So there's so you don't need to have as much mana available as a resource battery, because you get free mana when you make attacks. You can automatically chip in mana. You get free mana to increase your damage. So you're constantly getting free mana in combat. You only need to focus on out of combat and sustained effects for your mana. Otherwise, the combat stuff is for free. So you can lean into feats, sustained powers, and exploits, and maybe some reactions to to have some improvisation stuff available to you. But it's the short rest the short rest characters that are really going to be able to abuse all the mana stuff, because they're going to get their mana back so quickly. Like every 2 or 3 encounters, they're going to get all their mana back. So it'll be a high rotation. It's intended to have a high rotation. But again, with the power system, you can learn extra feats instead of powers or spells. So if you as a half caster with long rest resources, you lean into sustained powers and feats and combat masteries and damage types that don't cost any mana to use repeatedly. And then, so like at 5th level, you'll have 10 mana, for instance, per day, which basically means you'll have like 2 or 3 mana. You can activate. You can channel a number of sustained powers when you wake up to 2 mana worth of sustained powers. So that then knocks you down to 8 mana, which basically means you'll have 1 point of mana per encounter to spend that isn't damage related. Because the paladin, like for instance, can use a bonus action to deal a power die of damage whenever you're attacking somebody with as a smite power. So you have that infinite mana battery there for 1 mana per attack every round. And it eats your bonus action to do it, but it's free damage. So cheers. And the ranger, for instance, when they sustain hunters marked with prey, whoever is marked as their prey takes a power die of damage, and it takes a bonus action to switch targets. So it also has a per round cap, but otherwise it's also free mana. So your damage is going to be looking good, and plus with that free mana you get to deal condition stuff, right? So and then you can sacrifice your attacks to gain free mana. You can sacrifice an attack to deal extra damage with a strike power when you hit. You can also sacrifice your attack actions to gain 1 point of mana per sacrificed attack to then channel a maneuver using your bonus action. So you eat up your action economy. You replace action economy with free mana that you then use your remaining action economy to spend the mana, so you speed up your round by having less things to do, but the thing that you do is going to have more impact on the events of the adventure. So there's you don't actually need to spend, unless you want to overcharge something, you don't need to spend mana during combat if you're willing to eat up your action economy. If you want to get more done and empower it with the mana, then yeah, you can burn mana while you're doing a thing, but you aren't required to. You can do a thing every round that uses mana infinitely, as long as you're willing to eat your action economy to do it. If you want to keep all of your action economy and do a bunch of powers, then you're going to go through your battery quickly. So there's that. But you can play any way you want. You can change the way that you play. Like you can build your action loops and the way that you use your resources the way that you do. But the intention is like two decent combats, and then you get a short rest. There, puddles are done. Take the background and bring it back to full. Nice. These all now sit very nicely on the map and blend in relatively well. So the next thing we're going to do is we're probably going to extend the pockets of Opina, as well as add in a bunch of ferric ivy. And excuse me for a hot second. somebody around on my outside. And looks like there's some road construction firing up, and they're just putting things together. So people are disturbing my space. So yeah, so the intention is to play on Monday in the evening at 5 o'clock Seattle time, which would be 8 o'clock Eastern time. It'd be a 4-hour block, 3 hours of game, like a 15-minute heat up, 15-minute break at some point in the middle, and then cool down, a half-hour cool down at the end to recap and discuss next session. So session 0 on the 29th, actual first game on the 5th. So it'd be 5th level, 5th level, 6th level, 6th level, and then if we have, and then if it takes another session or two to lock down the hex, so it becomes a conquered hex, then we'll run up to 6 weeks. But it's assumed that we're going to run 4 weeks, and then reset, and we would either then move to either Monday or Saturday so that'll be August 5 and 6, and then September will be 7 and 8. The new player's handbook, I think, comes out on the 27th, I think, is when everyone has access to it, like open access to it. So we'll conclude the playtest 7 and 8 at the end of September, and then in October we'll run level that was 7 and 8, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. This will be 9 and 10. We should have, and then we can actually use like the actual rules from the actual player's handbook available to us. We'll be able to have the martial power system updated and then ready to go. Probably October, November-ish is when we'll be done with that. By then, I think the Eberron adventure should be completed. And then, so November-ish is when we should be completing the rules for the martial power system and sending it off to an editor. And we'll start working on the book cover. And then by I think by January we should be in layouts, and hopefully we'll have the artwork done by March and published in March. And then while we're working on that, we'll also be rebuilding the 5-color mana spell point variant rule system that we have. Yeah, so that's going to keep us occupied through March next year. Doing a bunch of color mana and martial power stuff. The martial power stuff I've been doing has been by far my most popular stuff in general. So hopefully it will retain interest of folks when we move into that, and we transition into that space. I'm going to take the Lotharia here. I'm going to take the partial and then the split. I'm going to take this. I'm going to duplicate here, and we're going to continue sprawling this stuff out into additional token, into different token space, just extending it beyond the tree since we're filling in the space of the puddles around and beyond it. Easiest way to do that is to include more Lotharia. So put it here, actually like that, and then free transform, boom, 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 and then vertical. Oof, too symmetrical. Hard pass. Free transform. Put vertical. So I'm just going to put an open call on my Patreon and my Discord. Ask if anyone's interested in playing on a Monday night. And ideally, we'll get 5 people that say yes and have at least 3 of them show up each week so we can keep playing. And on a night, if we don't have enough people get together to actually run a normal playtest, I could just BS my other playtest. Like, that would mean we'd only have 2 people show up that day. God, that would be sad. But if that is the case, then I can adapt accordingly. Duplicate. Let's go to here. well. Drag that over to here. Copy, paste. Bring that down to here. We're going to free transform. We're going to flip horizontal and then rotate 90 degrees. Here, and then here. This stuff is really starting to look really good. I'm really, really happy with the time we took to make these little things fun little patterns. It's just, it really is working out. Duplicate that layer. Flip this horizontal and rotate it like that. Copy and paste here. And drop that in here like that. Paste here. Free transform, bump, 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 bump. Here like that. And then free transform, bump, 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 like that. And drop it into the square here. Where's that one? There it is. I don't like where you're at. I want you there instead. Free transform. I think there's some text down there I'm not paying attention to. What time is it? 7:55. Holy shit! It's almost time for me to bounce. But yeah, this is what we're doing. So we'll I'm just gonna finish this out over the weekend. I'm just gonna fill in the rest of it. I mean, we're just basically filling in terrain. You see how that works? This is the broadest path they can get out, but it's filled with Lotharia, so every time they take a step through here, they have to fucking saving throw or get sickened by the stuff. We're gonna have some razor wire, the ferric ivy. We're gonna start weaving that stuff into these spaces here as well, and then we'll have some emerald caps just laying around on the edges of the on the exterior edges of the pools, just to add some interest. So it's just some added texture. But yeah, this is the battle map that the team shows up in. Ugly affair, and the DM can throw in any number of puddles and hazards like this, and just like because they only have a 40-foot range of vision because of the fog, so you only really have to build 50-foot tiles at a time, which is just a 10 by 10 squares, a 50 by 50 space. Beyond like the 40 feet of space that they can see inside of, the extra 5 feet beyond that starts to fade out. So at any given time, you only need to have a 10 by 10 tile that the characters are running down, and you can slap these puddles and any amount of terrain and like objects and then creatures. You can just throw some into a 10 by 10 space and drop that in front of the characters at any time while they're just running around inside of the fog. They're just going to run into stuff because they can't see it ahead of time. So that's the theme of the place, and a lot of the adventuring teams have like a map or like a compass or a guiding stone that will lead them in the direction that they need to go to, and then in a very roller coaster fashion, the DM can just throw obstacles in front of the team, and it doesn't really matter which way they zig or zag through the fog. You're going to run into what the DM wants you to run into whenever he wants you to run into it, because you can't see it coming. So it's kind of railroady. It's very Schrodinger's ogre, but it's meant to be the narrative, the way that the game is built, it's allowed to do that. And once you establish a thing happened here, you pretty much set a thing happened there, and then you can go back and you reference that, because that becomes your adventure. That's how your adventure gets framed. So anyway, that's it for today. I'm going to go ahead and sign out of here. I'm going to be back in about 5 hours Maybe 5.5. I'm not sure. Probably like 130. I'll be back, and we're gonna work on again the Martial Powers Rubble Belt Hex Crawl. We're gonna build the next hex. I think it's blue-red, so it's gonna have an Azet vibe to it. While the tile that the team just conquered had an Azorius white-blue vibe, this next one's gonna have a blue-red vibe, so it's gonna be different in flavor. I think we already did some preliminary work on it. I want to go back and see if it's still legit. And yeah, so anyone that's interested, I'll see you then. I'll be back tomorrow morning to work on, I don't know, maybe more Rebel Belt, we'll see. And we'll just continue on from there. So I'll be back in a while. I hope you guys have a fantastic morning. Thank you.